You're 26 years old, a degree in criminal justice, $87,000 in student debt piling up, and an FBI acceptance letter your parents framed and hung in the living room like it was a Vatican diploma. Welcome to the Bureau. Welcome to the war on drug trafficking. Welcome to the worst mistake of your life. First comes Quantico, 20 weeks of training where they teach you to shoot, to drive like a maniac at 90 miles per hour, to negotiate with people who have nothing left to lose, and to memorize legal protocols. You'll forget the first time someone points an AK-47 at your face. They shave your head. They scream at you. They make you run until you puke up protein oats. They teach you personal defense against threats that look like drills at the academy and look like death sentences in the street. It's like a college fraternity, but with real weapons, binding oaths, and federal consequences. You pass with honors. Your instructor says you have a natural instinct for investigation. What she really means is you're stubborn enough not to drop a case. That sounds like a compliment right now. In 5 years, it'll be your sentence. Your first assignment is in El Paso, Transnational Organized Crime Division. Sounds impressive on your badge. In reality, it's an office with a broken AC unit in a federal building that smells like burnt coffee and defeated ambition. Your desk sits next to a veteran agent who's spent 19 years chasing cartels and has the look of someone who stopped sleeping in 2008. His name is Patterson. He looks at you the way you look at a puppy walking onto a freeway. First narco case? You nod. Good luck, rookie. The cartel doesn't keep office hours. Your first real case arrives in a manila folder. Communications Interception Operation. They need someone who speaks Spanish and knows tech. You speak heritage Spanish, the kind you learned from your grandparents in San Antonio and supplemented with Duolingo in college. It's not perfect, but it's more than 90% of the office has. They hand you headphones, a recorder, and access to a phone interception system monitoring 340 simultaneous lines connected to a criminal organization operating across 6 Mexican states and 4 American ones. Your job is to listen, transcribe, identify voices, connect dots. Sounds simple. It isn't. The first few weeks are boring. You listen to hours of conversations about nothing, codes you don't understand. Send 40 shirts to the cousin in Tucson. The cattle already crossed the river. The cake is ready for Saturday's party. Everything sounds like a dysfunctional family planning a reunion, but the shirts are kilos. The cattle are people. And the cake is crystal methamphetamine with 97% purity. It takes you 3 weeks to crack the basic code. It takes 3 months to understand that every innocent phrase you transcribe represents real suffering crossing the border in a car trunk. Your first win is small. You identify a phone number connecting a distributor in Phoenix to a logistics coordinator in Nogales. That connection leads to the interception of 200 pounds of fentanyl in a hidden compartment of a semi-truck hauling avocados. The seizure is worth $4 million on the street. There's a ceremony, photos. Your supervisor congratulates you in an email copied to the entire division. You feel proud. You feel like you're winning. What nobody tells you is that same corridor moved 47 other loads that month. You seized 2% of the operation. The cartel didn't even notice. It's like scooping a spoonful of water out of the ocean and celebrating that the level dropped. But you get hooked. That's the trap. Every new connection is a rush. Every voice identified is a puzzle piece. You start working 14-hour days, then 16. Your girlfriend calls you to dinner and you tell her you're closing something important. You're always closing something important. The case never ends. Every thread you pull reveals 10 more. Every phone number connects to 20 others. It's a bureaucratic hydra, financed by cocaine. You cut one head off and 3 grow back, each with its own lawyer and its own distribution network. Patterson buys you a beer after work. It's the first time he's socialized with you. You know what the problem with narco cases is, he says, staring at his bottle like it holds answers. You can't win. You can only last. You ask what that means. Means the cartel has unlimited budget, 0 regulations, and replaces employees in 24 hours. You've got a federal salary, 200 pages of legal protocol, and it takes you 6 months to get a court order. He toasts to that. You don't. You still believe the system works. 6 months later, you're assigned your first big case. An organization moving fentanyl from clandestine labs in a Mexican Pacific state to cities across the American Midwest. The operation involves 40 identified targets, a dozen shell companies, transport routes that change weekly, and a leader nobody has seen in person in 3 years. Your job is to build the case from scratch. Gather enough evidence for federal indictments under RICO statutes. You need wiretaps, cooperating witnesses, financial records, and the patience of a Buddhist monk with access to classified databases. They give you a team of 4 agents. 1 is a veteran like Patterson with permanent under-eye circles and a recent divorce. 2 are new like you with energy and ambition the system hasn't ground down yet. The 4th is an intelligence analyst who can find financial connections in a mountain of data like someone finding patterns in stars. Her name is Chen. She's the smartest person you'll meet in your career. She's also the first to abandon the case, but that comes later. You set up an operations room. Whiteboards covered in photos of targets connected by red strings that look like they're straight out of a Netflix series. But the shows don't give you the boring part. The 300 hours listening to recordings where 99% is garbage. The 47 memos you write to justify every single warrant request. The interagency meetings where the DEA, ICE, and FBI fight over jurisdiction like kids fighting over the same toy while the criminals keep operating without anyone bothering them. The bureaucracy is the real enemy. The cartel is just the excuse. Your first cooperating witness is a mid-level distributor arrested in Oklahoma with 30 kilos of meth in his trunk. He's 34 years old, has 3 kids, and faces a potential 25-year sentence. He's willing to talk, but the intel he has is limited. He only knows the link immediately above him. He gives you a name. That name gives you another. That one gives you a route. The route gives you a warehouse. The warehouse gives you records that connect to an import company in Laredo that in turn connects to a money laundering network moving cash through currency exchanges in 3 countries. Every step takes weeks to verify, months of paperwork. It's criminal archaeology in real time. 1 year into the case and you've got 12 sealed indictments ready, but your supervisor wants more. We need the boss. Without the head, the body regenerates. She's right. But the head is in Mexico, protected by a security structure that would make a head of state cry with envy. He has lookouts on every corner of his territory. He has cops on payroll. He has military contacts who tip him off about operations hours in advance. And he has a team of lawyers in the United States who probably bill more per hour than your monthly salary. You've got a team of 4 and a budget that can't cover a decent rental car for undercover operations. The first threat arrives without drama, an envelope in your personal mailbox, not at the office. at your home. Inside is a photo of your girlfriend leaving the gym. On the back, it says, "Pretty." Nothing else. It doesn't need to say more. You report the threat. They assign you temporary protection. 3 weeks with an agent parked outside your apartment. Then the budget runs out and you're alone again. Your girlfriend doesn't know about the envelope. You tell her the agent outside is routine protocol. It's your first big lie. It won't be the last. Your girlfriend's name is Sarah. She's a nurse. She works in the ER. She sees trauma every day. She thinks she understands your work. She doesn't understand your work. Because your work isn't just dangerous. It's consuming. It's a black hole that absorbs your time, your attention, your ability to be present in a conversation about what to have for dinner without your brain analyzing intercepted call patterns. You cancel dinners on her. You cancel vacations. You cancel her best friend's wedding because something came up. Something always comes up. Sarah starts sleeping alone 4 nights a week, then 5, then every night. The case moves forward, but it takes its toll. Chen, your star analyst, resigns after 14 months. "I can't keep looking at the numbers," she tells you over their last drink together. "Do you know how much money this organization moves a year? More than the FBI's entire division annual budget. We're fighting a multinational corporation with a corner store's resources." She leaves for the private sector, makes triple the salary, sleeps at night. You're left with her files and her empty desk. 18 months in, you've got 23 sealed indictments, solid evidence against the organization's middle structure. But the boss is still untouchable. Then you land the perfect informant. A high-ranking lieutenant who fell out of favor over an accounting error. He has direct access to the inner circle. He knows routes, names, bank accounts, everything. But he wants full protection, special visa, family relocation, startup money. The whole package costs more than your office spends in a year. You fight for the budget for 3 months. You get it. The informant starts talking. The intel is pure gold. Names you didn't have. Operations you didn't know about. A clandestine lab producing enough fentanyl to kill the population of a mid-sized city every single week. Accounts at banks you thought were legitimate processing millions daily. Politicians on both sides of the border receiving envelopes. Customs officers looking the other way for $5,000 a month. The scale of the corruption takes your breath away. It's not a cartel operating outside the system. It's a cartel operating inside the system, using the system, being part of the system. Your informant turns up dead 3 months after he starts cooperating. They find him in a vacant lot near a state highway. His hands and head are gone. The message is clear, brutal, calculated for maximum psychological impact. And it's directed at you, because someone inside the information chain knew he was talking. That means there's a leak, a breach somewhere in the custody chain of information that's supposed to be impenetrable. It could be in your office. It could be at the DEA. It could be in the local police collaborating on the case. It could be anywhere. You spend 6 weeks investigating your own colleagues. You find nothing conclusive. But trust evaporates like water in the Chihuahuan desert. Sarah leaves on a Tuesday night while you're at the office reviewing transcripts. You come home to a half-empty apartment. She took her things, left yours, and a note on the kitchen table. "I can't compete with the ghosts you're chasing." She's right. Your ghosts are more real than your relationship. They carry encrypted names in classified folders and move more tons of poison than any war in history has managed to mobilize. Sarah deserves someone who's present. You're only present in phone intercepts. 2 years in, the operation finally goes down. 47 simultaneous arrests across 4 states. 200 federal agents coordinated at dawn. Doors getting kicked in. Drugs, weapons, money, vehicles seized. The footage runs on CNN. Your supervisor gives the press conference. You watch from the office because field agents don't appear on camera. It's a security protocol. It's also a metaphor for your existence. You do the invisible work that someone else presents as a victory. The numbers look impressive on paper. 47 arrested. $35 million in cash seized. 800 kilos of meth. 200 kilos of fentanyl. 43 weapons. 12 armored vehicles. The press release uses words like significant blow and dismantlement. Politicians mention it in speeches. It sounds like the end of a movie. It's not the end of anything. 3 weeks later, the same corridor has a new operator. Same product, same quality. Different phones, different names, same organization. They swap the pieces out like changing tires. Your 2-year operation was a minor inconvenience in their business plan. They give you a medal, an 8% raise, a pat on the back, and a new case that's exactly the same as the last one, but with different names. It's like playing a video game where every level is identical to the one before it, but the enemies have different skins. The sense of accomplishment lasts exactly 72 hours. Then it's Monday again, and there are new intercepts to listen to, new codes to crack, new ghosts to chase in a war that's had no winner for 50 years. You start drinking. Not much at first. A beer after work, then 2, then whiskey because it's more efficient. You're not an alcoholic. You're functional. That's what they call it in the Bureau. Agents who can still shoot straight with a hangover. It's an institutional euphemism that protects the system from admitting it destroys its own people. Patterson drinks more than you, and he's been operating for 19 years. He's your role model and your warning at the same time. The two of you drink at the same bar, talk about the same cases, both knowing that tomorrow there'll be new intercepts with the same old codes. The cattle keep crossing the river. The shirts keep arriving in Tucson. The cake keeps getting baked in labs that smell like chemicals and desperation. 3 years in, they offer you a position in Washington, desk work, strategic analysis, away from the front lines. It's the graceful exit the Bureau offers agents who start showing cracks. You turn it down because you still believe the next case will be different, that the next informant will survive, that the next operation will dismantle something permanently. It's the same mindset as a gambler in a casino. The next hand is the one. It's not the one. It never is. They assign you a new case. Fentanyl again, but this time the deaths are different. It's not adults addicted in low-income neighborhoods anymore. It's teenagers in suburbs buying fake pills off social media. Kids who are 15 years old, thinking they're buying an anxiety med, receiving a lethal dose disguised as prescription medication. Every week there's a new funeral in some small American town where parents can't understand how their honor roll kid ended up dead in their own bed with foam at the mouth. Your job is to trace the chain from that pill back to the lab where it was manufactured. It's 3,000 miles of distance, 4 borders, and a logistics system more efficient than Amazon. A chain that starts with a precursor chemical legally purchased in Asia, passes through a makeshift lab in a remote mountain range, crosses the desert in the gas tank of a family car, and ends in the dresser drawer of a teenager in Ohio who doesn't know he just bought his own death for the price of a fast food combo. This case breaks you differently. Because the case files have photos of the victims, And the victims look like your nephew. They've got name-brand backpacks, new phones, futures that someone robbed from them for $10 a pill. You work 18-hour days, not out of duty, out of rage. Rage is the fuel the Bureau never warns you will burn you from the inside out like acid through a pipe. 4 years in, your body starts sending the bill. Chronic insomnia, acid reflux, a chest pain the doctor says is anxiety, but you know is your heart trying to process things no organ was ever designed to process. They prescribe you sleeping pills. They work for 3 weeks. Then you need a higher dose. The irony isn't lost on you. You're chasing people who sell addictive chemicals while you develop a dependency on legal chemicals just to keep chasing them. You catch an important operator, high level, regional coordinator, the guy who organizes logistics for an entire stretch of the American Southwest. He gets extradited. You sit him down in an interrogation room. You expected a monster. What you find is a 42-year-old accountant with glasses who speaks softly and asks about his kids. He walks you through the supply chain the way someone explains a corporate org chart. He uses terms like operational efficiency and risk management. He's not a movie villain. He's a middle manager from hell. And when you ask him why he does it, his answer will haunt you for years. Why do you do what you do? We both work for organizations that pay us to do things we don't fully understand. The only difference is mine pays better. 5 years. Patterson retires. His party is sad. Supermarket cake in the conference room. An engraved watch. A speech from the supervisor about exceptional service. Patterson is 52 and looks 65. 3 divorces. A son who won't speak to him. A pension that doesn't cover the therapy he needs. He hugs you on the way out. Get out while you can, kid, he says in your ear. This job eats you alive and then thanks you with a cheap plaque. You laugh because it's funny. You cry in the car because it's true. You don't leave. Of course you don't leave. Because now you are Patterson, the veteran with the dark circles who looks at new recruits with pity. The one who knows that every big case is a drop in an ocean of fentanyl. The one who's watched informants die, colleagues break down, families get destroyed while the federal budget debates whether to allocate more resources or buy another fighter jet. 6 years. You look in the mirror on a Monday at 5 a.m. before heading to the office. You're 32 and you look 40. Your suit hangs off you because you eat badly. Your hands shake from coffee and sleep deprivation. You live alone in an apartment that looks like a satellite office. Folders, laptops, portable whiteboards with connections only you understand. Your social life is a contact list classified as source or target. Your last date was 8 months ago, and it ended when she asked what you did for work, and your answer took too long because you were deciding how much you could say without violating security protocols. You get a call. Another informant wants to cooperate. Another big case is taking shape. Another chance to put someone important in prison, while 10 more take their place before the judge finishes reading the sentence. You take the case. Of course you take it. Because this is what you are now, not an agent chasing cartels. You are the cartel chasing you. They stole your youth, your relationship, your health, your sleep, and your ability to sit down in a restaurant without identifying the emergency exits. And the worst part is you did it voluntarily. You signed the contract. You raised your right hand. You swore to protect and serve. Nobody told you that protecting and serving meant turning yourself into collateral damage in a war that nobody intends to win. That's what you are. A soldier in a war designed to never end. Because if it ends, the budgets dry up. The agencies disappear. The political positions that depend on promising to be tough on crime go away. The cartel needs you to exist to justify their security measures. You need the cartel to exist to justify your salary. It's a symbiotic relationship disguised as a conflict. And caught in the middle are the dead, the addicts, the destroyed towns, and the broken agents nobody remembers once they turn in their badge and their gun. You're 32 years old, an empty apartment, a medal in a drawer, a new folder on your desk that looks exactly like the first one you opened 6 years ago in this same office with the broken AC. You open it. New names, new phones, new codes, same war. You pour a coffee, you put your headphones on, and you start listening. Because that's what you do. That's the only thing you know how to do. And somewhere across the border, someone is packing another load, training another hitman, buying another politician, and cooking another batch of blue pills that will kill another teenager who looks like your nephew. And you'll hear the call where they plan it, and you'll write the report, and you'll fill out the paperwork, and in 18 months, you'll arrest someone who'll be replaced in 18 hours. And they'll give you another medal, and you'll put it in the same drawer, next to the others, next to your youth, next to everything you sacrificed chasing ghosts that never stop multiplying.